In a world where actions speak louder than words, Russia has once again made a move that's causing ripples across the globe. It's no secret that Russia's geopolitical maneuvers often have far-reaching implications. But their recent maneuvers have sent shockwaves through the international gas supply chain, particularly impacting Europe. Amidst escalating tensions between Russia and NATO over Ukraine, Russian gas supplies to Europe have become a hot-button issue. The US has been seeking alternative gas sources, courting countries such as Qatar, Japan, South Korea, and even China. However, this diplomatic ballet around liquefied natural gas supplies seems unlikely to significantly bolster Europe's energy security. If Russian supplies were to be interrupted for any sustained period, the resulting price spike would reverberate globally. The reason? There's simply not enough slack in the LNG supply chain to absorb such a hit. But the fallout wouldn't stop there. With gas stocks already running low and not designed to handle politically motivated supply interruptions, consumers in Europe and Asia could expect to see their gas and electricity prices soar. While governments have been playing along with the gas diplomacy, their practical commitments have been limited. It's a precarious situation that leaves many wondering, where do we go from here? Meanwhile, on another front, Russia has yet to officially support the US proposal to host the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation in 2023. This lack of commitment only adds another layer of uncertainty to an already tense global stage. These unforeseen maneuvers by Russia are not just chess moves on a geopolitical board. They have real-world impacts that can be felt from the gas pipelines of Europe to the conference rooms of international economic forums. And it's not just governments and corporations that are left to deal with the aftermath. Everyday people from Sofia to Seoul are left wondering what this means for them. The question on everyone's lips is, how will this impact us in the long run? When one domino falls, it's only a matter of time before the rest follow suit. It's an age-old adage that rings true in the world of geopolitics and international economics, where the actions of one nation can reverberate through the global community. Russia's recent maneuvers have set off a chain reaction, causing ripple effects far beyond their borders. Take Bulgaria, for instance. Nestled in the southeastern corner of Europe, this small country finds itself grappling with the after effects of Russia's actions. The Bulgarian National Bank, in response to the heightened economic uncertainty, has decided to increase the capital buffer for banks, a move designed to mitigate systemic risks associated with high levels of borrowing. However, this precautionary measure is not without its potential pitfalls. With higher capital buffers, there's a risk of increased indebtedness and a rise in non-performing loans. Essentially, the banks will have to set aside more
so high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight.
This time is no different. Global leaders and organizations are striving to respond to Russia's unexpected moves, each in their own way, each with their own strategies. Taking center stage in this global response is the United States. Policymakers are seeking alternative sources of gas, a critical lifeline for many nations, especially Europe. They are knocking on the doors of Qatar and Asian countries, including Japan, South Korea, and China, about diverting liquefied natural gas cargoes to Europe. A diplomatic chess game, if you will, to counteract the potential interruption of Russian supplies that could trigger a damaging price spike globally. But this is no simple task. There's little spare capacity in the LNG supply chain. Gas stocks are low, not designed to deal with politically motivated supply interruptions. And while these diplomatic efforts are commendable, they may not significantly improve Europe's energy security. The reality is that any sustained interruption of Russian supplies would leave a deep dent in the global economy. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, New Zealand is hosting the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Week virtually. The focus? Economic recovery from the pandemic, supply chain support, and decarbonizing economies. APEC's member economies, which account for a substantial 38% of the world's population and over 60% of its GDP, are coming together in this virtual forum to find solutions to shared challenges. Yet, amidst all these responses, the practical commitments have been limited. Governments have played along with the gas diplomacy, but tangible promises are few and far between. The Bulgarian National Bank, for instance, has raised the capital buffer for Bulgarian banks to address systemic risks associated with high levels of borrowing and increased economic uncertainty. A necessary step perhaps, but it's a solitary move in a game that requires collective action. And so the world watches and waits as leaders scramble to mitigate the fallout. The question remains, will these responses be enough to weather the storm that Russia's actions may unleash? Only time will tell. The world watches and waits as leaders scramble to mitigate the fallout. When giants clash, it's the everyday man who feels the tremors. The geopolitical maneuvers of nations have a way of trickling down to the consumer level. And in this case, the potential fallout from the Russia-NATO standoff over Ukraine could have a significant impact on everyday people, especially in Europe and Asia. An interruption of Russian gas supplies, as we've seen, can cause a sharp spike in global prices. This isn't just a theoretical possibility, it's a reality that's already playing out on the world stage. For people in their homes, turning on the stove to cook dinner or switching on the heater on a chilly evening could become a costly affair. The price of gas isn't just a number on a chart. It's a factor that weighs on household budgets that could mean choosing between warmth and other necessities. But it's not just about gas. The potential disruption to supply chains could hike up costs for consumers in ways that are less direct, but no less significant. Everything from electronics to furniture to clothing relies on a complex web of global supply chains. When these chains are disrupted, it's not just the manufacturers who bear the brunt. The increased costs are passed on to consumers, making everyday goods more expensive. Moreover, the ripple effects of these economic shocks can also lead to volatility in other sectors. For instance, the Bulgarian National Bank's move to raise the capital buffer in response to economic uncertainty could indirectly affect consumers. If banks need to accumulate more capital, they might tighten lending standards or raise interest rates, making it harder for individuals and businesses to borrow. This, in turn, could slow economic growth and lead to job losses, adding another layer of strain for consumers. In essence, the tremors of these geopolitical clashes reach far beyond the epicenters of power. They seep into kitchens and living rooms, into shopping trips and monthly budgets. They underscore just how interconnected our world is, and how decisions made in far-off capitals can reverberate through ordinary lives. As the economic waves crash, the ripples are felt in households across the globe. As the dust settles, we look to the horizon, wondering what comes next. The recent actions of Russia have sent ripples through the global economy, creating a ripple effect that could shape the future in ways we are yet to fully comprehend. Let's consider some potential scenarios. With gas supplies at risk, we could see a sharp rise in energy prices around the globe. This would not just hit the pockets of consumers, but also the cost of doing business, potentially slowing economic growth. On the other hand, it could also spur a more aggressive shift towards renewable energy sources, reshaping our energy landscape for the better. Meanwhile, the Bulgarian central bank's move to raise capital buffers is indicative of the kind of preemptive measures countries may need to take to safeguard their economies. With the shadow of increased economic uncertainty looming, it's imperative that nations act strategically to mitigate risks associated with high levels of borrowing and potential disruptions to supply chains. Looking across the Pacific, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) Leaders Week provides a platform for strategic cooperation. As economies recover from the pandemic, the focus is shifting towards decarbonizing economies and supporting supply chains. This could be a vital forum for addressing the economic fallout from Russia's actions. However, the road ahead is not without its challenges. Tensions over Taiwan's bid to join a regional trade pact and the U.S. bid to host the 2023 round of meetings reflect the delicate balance of power in the region. The ability of nations to work together in these trying times could be a determining factor in the long-term economic impact of Russia's actions. The unpredictable nature of today's global economy underscores the need for strategic planning and cooperation among countries. It's a complex jigsaw puzzle where every move could have far-reaching implications. But one thing is clear. In this global game of chess, the next move could change everything.